All right, next game, Jaguars at the Vikings. This line opened up Vikings -9. It's up to 9.5. So who do you like here?
I'm on the Jaguars here, I think. And look, I know the Jaguars are bad and the Vikings have played better as of late, but this just seems like a lot to be giving the Vikings to me. The Jaguars still have some offensive weapons. Mike Glennon took advantage of them against the Browns. I know Cleveland was without their two best defenders, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. So that helped to make him look good. But I don't think the Vikings have a great defense either. They have a couple of good linebackers. Eric Kendricks and Eric Wilson are playing very good this year. And they have some good safeties, but their cornerback position has been a disaster this year. And the Jaguars, if DJ Chark comes back, they have DJ Chark, they have Laviska Shenault, they have Keelan Cole, and Chris Conley's hurt. But if he's back, he could also be good. And Colin Johnson. So they have a lot of receiving weapons. And James Robinson has played well at running back. So they have the makings of a solid offense. So when they're playing against weaker defenses, and I don't think that the Vikings are strong cornerback or on the defensive line, they can make some noise and at least score some points and possibly stay in the game. I think Glennon gives them a better chance to do that than Jake Luton because, Glennon's been around and at least has experience. And we know the Vikings are going to score on the Jaguars. Their defense isn't very good right now, and they're pretty banged up as a whole. But I'm just not sold that they're going to be able to contain the Jaguars on defense enough to get close to a 10-point cover. And the Jaguars, this was a surprising number that I felt the need to include. They're 5-6 against the spread this year, which is pretty unbelievable to me, just because they've lost every game except the one that we really needed them not to. So, I think that the Vikings could do well in this one. I think the Jaguars are going to cover here. And at the very least, they should have a chance at a backdoor cover unless there's a surprising blowout. So I'm going to be on the Jaguars here, 1 to 2 units, maybe, unless the injury report is much worse than I'm expecting it to be.
Yeah, how funny is it that their only win came, that really cost everyone in the survivor pools, and it's that win is going to cost them Trevor Lawrence. Like that's so huge. So really have to feel for Jaguar fans because that win looked nice at the time, and then they kept the game close against Tennessee. You're like, wait, is this team good? And like, no, they're not. They're 1-10. But what you said about them covering the spread a lot, like, is accurate, and they've done so a lot recently. Since week 7, they've only lost by more than 10 only once. Again, that was against the Steelers. And, I don't think the Vikings are as good as the Steelers. Like, call me crazy. But, I mean, the Vikings, 2 weeks ago, the Vikings lost to the Cowboys. And last week, the Vikings almost lost to the Panthers. And they would have lost if Teddy Bridgewater hits DJ Moore in the end zone at the end. So I'm right there with you. Like, this screams like backdoor cover, doesn't it? Like, feels like the Jaguars should be able to move the ball against the Viking defense missing 6 starters. If DJ Chark is back, like, that's gonna be enormous. And Jacksonville's offensive line is like actually pretty decent. It's like not as horrible as it used to be. So Glenn should see plenty of protection. He should be able to move the ball. And actually, it wouldn't even surprise me if the Jaguars have the lead in like the second half. The Vikings as large favorites like this, like I like Mike Zimmer as a coach, but when he's been favored by this many points, he hasn't really done that well. Over the past 3 years, when he's favored by 9 or more, he's 1-3-2 against the spread, which is kind of weird. He lost outright when he was favored by 16.5 against Buffalo a couple years ago. Last year, when he was favored by 10, he almost lost to Minnesota. It was like a last-second touchdown for the Vikings to win against Denver. He almost lost to Denver. So last-second touchdown from Minnesota to win. So I think this could be like one of those lazy games, because after this game, the Vikings have to play the Buccaneers and then the rival Bears and then the Saints. So it's going to be pretty tough for the Vikings to be focused against this team. Then again, like, maybe having lost to Dallas a couple weeks ago will make them focus, but I still think that there's a chance that they're going to overlook the Jaguars. So I like the Jaguars as well. It really depends on, if Chark comes back and stuff like that. But Sidney Jones is another player I think we need to play. So if those two guys come back, I may bet the Jaguars for a couple units, maybe 3 or 4 even.
Yeah, I think Chark's the most important one for me, because we've seen how different offenses are without their number one receivers this year, especially. And I think Glennon has the ability to take advantage of him more than Jake Luton was able to. And, Gardner Minshew had some games where he could take advantage of Chark, but he likes to spread the ball around more than I would think Glennon would. So that'll be the big one I'm watching. But I'm glad we agree on this one because when I was picking this one, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm either going to be like dead agreement on this one or it's going to be like, you are so horribly wrong, Jacob. You're going to get this one wrong.
Speaking of dead agreements, I think we've agreed on every game so far. So let's see how long that streak lasts this week.